For our next demo, I'm stepping into the role of a data engineer. My focus today is making sure that data is moving effectively, reliably, and in a way that supports the rest of my business. That means I need visibility into where my data is coming from, how it's structured, and how it flows through our pipelines. I also need the ability to spot issues early, optimize performance, and make sure everything aligns with our governance and quality standards. In this demo, I'll be showing how the Precisely Data Integrity Suite can be used to get a complete view of our data sources, structures, and workflows. I'll walk through how active metadata helps me understand what's happening across my pipelines, and how I can use that in order to improve integration, data quality, and my overall pipeline designs. I'll also highlight how the platform surfaces recommendations and insights that help me make smarter decisions faster, helping build pipelines that are not just functional, but resilient, scalable, and ready for whatever comes next. One of the first things I'll need to do here is to find and understand the data that's available across my environment. This means being able to connect to different systems, scan for metadata, and bring it into one place where I can actually work with it. This is going to be the starting point for everything else, whether I'm building pipelines, improving data quality, or supporting any governance initiatives. So here I can connect to a database or cloud platform. I can scan and discover it, and then pull in the metadata automatically. And what's really helpful about this solution is I can control how often this discovery happens. So for instance, I can run this daily or weekly. And I also have control over what I pull in. Do I just pull in the basic metadata, or do I want to profile the data sets and run my data quality rules against it as I consolidate all of this information? Also, thanks to the flexibility of the Data Integrity Suite, we can easily create business assets, models, and policies to help capture unstructured metadata. So for instance here, I have defined business terms that are unique to my organization and link them directly to unstructured documentation. I can also define required fields for consistency and even bulk import metadata to streamline this process. All of this is going to give me a really solid foundation to build on. Once the metadata is in, I can start profiling, tagging, scoring it, and using it to drive better decisions across my data pipelines. The next thing I want to do here is use workflow management to support both data flow and business process modeling. So as a data engineer, I'm always thinking about how data moves, but I also need to understand the processes that depend on that data. So in this case, I'm going to look at a business process modeled as a workflow here, where the goal of this workflow is to see how we improve data quality by increasing the percentage of certified metadata assets. So this workflow helps track each step in that certification process. I could drill down and see who's responsible, where things are getting stuck, and how it all connects back to the data itself, making sure that the right checks and approvals are in place to meet our quality standards. I can also tie this to our KPIs. So like we said, our objective was to increase the trust in our business assets. I can search for this in my objectives here. I'll see critical associated metrics with this, like percentage of business terms certified, giving me a way to connect the technical work I'm doing with the business outcomes we're trying to drive. This kind of visibility is going to help me build better pipelines, support data governance, and make sure that the data we're delivering is trusted and ready for usage. I can also use this workflow engine to configure processes for things like metadata inclusion, revision, and approval. I can trigger these workflows by metadata events, like adding a tag, user request embedded throughout the UI, or even on a schedule. And these are going to be tied to specific asset types and request types, so they can be tailored to all of my different use cases. Now, the suite also is going to help me by supporting role-based permissions for metadata curation, cataloging, and governance. So this is going to ensure that only authorized users can perform certain actions like editing business or catalog terms, and helping maintain consistency and control across my metadata layer. This is going to make it easier to manage metadata at scale while keeping it aligned with governance policies and how teams actually work. Now that I've connected some objectives and key performance indicators to the metadata assets they impact, I can start thinking about how this can help me monitor and maintain my pipelines more effectively, and then in turn, those objectives. The Data Integrity Suite gives me built-in observability directly tied to the metadata layer. So instead of constantly checking every single one of my pipelines or my datasets, I get intelligent alerts and recommendations that flag issues early using artificial intelligence to learn from my data profiles over time. So these are going to look for things like schema drift. Did I have a data type change? Did I have a spike in the volume of my data, for instance? Or did I have a spike in the null counts in my data, for instance? Or as we're looking at here, in the maximum value? Since these alerts are integrated too with our catalog, I can easily go into the catalog, look at the associated metadata asset, see context, the downstream impact, and what actions I need to take. I can do this all in one place. So this is just going to help me stay ahead of issues without having to constantly monitor everything myself. It keeps pipelines healthy and my metadata aligned with governance policies. So with that, it brings us to the end of the demo from our data engineering perspective. We looked at how the Data Integrity Suite gives me a full view of data sources, structures, and workflows, all powered by active metadata. I can scan and organize metadata, build workflows that support both technical and business processes, and monitor pipeline health with intelligence alerts and recommendations. This helps me keep data flowing reliably, catch issues early, and make sure that everything I build is aligned with governance and quality standards. It's a solid foundation for building pipelines that are efficient, scalable, and ready to support the business.